Good morning, everybody. It's 24 plus. It's about 37 hours until we determine the fate of a representative democracy in America and the fate of our planet Earth. The stakes could not be higher in this election. Donald Trump and his cronies are the most corrupt administration in the history of the United States of America. What they have done to undermine our bedrock laws is extraordinary. Wide-reaching, in addition to their ignoring science and allowing coronavirus to run free in the United States of America. Trump just heard an analysis done by Johns Hopkins. It hasn't been peer-reviewed yet, but they say Trump's rallies unmasked have caused 30,000 cases and 700 deaths. Also, this man can feed his ego. This has to stop. And it stops tomorrow with Election Day. Yeah. There's so many things at stake. They're rushing, they rushed Ms. Coney Barrett through to the Supreme Court. They're going to try court challenges. I mean, who knows? But if we have an overwhelming victory, they can't question it. And that's what we have to have, an overwhelming victory. Everybody's got to get your ballot in. If you know someone who hasn't voted yet, get them to get their ballot in. You got to drop it off. Drop it off today. Get it done. There are things at so much risk. A woman's right to control her own health. We expect the Supreme Court will overturn Roe v. Wade, but guess what? The United States Congress can restore it as a statutory right, and the Supreme Court can't touch it. I stand with Planned Parenthood. My opponent says he would defund Planned Parenthood. He would vote against restoring women's reproductive health care rights. He's against the minimum wage, but he wants to help people do better in this country. The list is endless, but he has hidden behind so much money. This is the most expensive congressional race in the history of the state of Oregon. They are trying to buy this seat. And I tell you what, with your help and the help of the thousands of volunteers I've had in this election, they are not going to buy Oregon's 4th congressional district. I'm going to go back there and we're going to undo the damage done by Donald Trump with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democratic Senate and the chair of the Senate Finance Committee, Ron Wyden.
Urgent business. Re-elect Congressman DeFazio. Now you got a bunch of ducks up here, and I got a message for the duck family. And it's really just 7 words for the next 2 days. Get every ballot in and count every ballot. Are you with us? Here's what's going on in America. Right now, Republicans are attacking the democratic process from sea to shining sea. And we've got to push back. And that means even in our state. Oregon has been so proud. We're the gold standard in terms of voter integrity with our vote by mail system. But our Attorney General, my classmate at the law school, Ellen Rosenblum, has had to set up a special alert so that we can watch out to make sure there's not voter suppression and violence at the polls. And the reason I bring this up is we've got an Attorney General who's with us and stands with the proposition that we're going to continue to be special with our vote by mail. But I have the pleasure of introducing Shemia Fagan. And I want to tell you why her race, please, for Shemia Fagan, get one up now. But I want to tell you why her race is so important. Whenever her opponent gets interviewed, she gets asked about vote by mail. And she gets asked, oh, you know, Donald Trump says that there's fraud and people are filling out each other's ballot and the like. And Shemia Fagan's opponent always waffles and bobs and weaves when they ask her, is she going to fight to protect vote by mail and to build on it and continue to open up opportunities for expanding the franchise? Look, folks, and I say this to my duck family, we cannot in America, for all the reasons Peter talked about, a woman's right to choose. You've got Democrats up here, for example, who are going to try to get relief for students on student loans. I think that might be of real value to working families, but you can't do it if you have your top election official at a crucial time in America where from one end of the country to another there's an effort to suppress the vote. We've got to have a Secretary of State who, when they get asked about whether they're going to be there to protect Oregon's special system, they're not hesitating. They're not trying to figure out some kind of answer to please Donald Trump and his allies. They're there for you. They're there for the Oregon voter. Let's give it up for Shemia Fagan.
Hello, Eugene. Okay, so here it is. My favorite question I've been asked so far this election cycle. They said, what professional sports team would you join? I didn't say the Portland Trail Blazers. I didn't say the Thorns or the Portland Timbers. I said the New York Liberty. Why? To join the Oregon Ducks' Sabrina Ionescu playing WNBA. But that's not going to work out for me, so I'm your candidate for Secretary of State. And it has been so fun this election cycle to be on national phone calls, and they see an Oregonian, and they're almost starstruck. Wow, an Oregonian. They say, what's it like to be voting in the state that pioneered vote by mail? And I say, oh, well, vote by mail is the most boring topic in Oregon politics. It has worked so well for so long for all political parties and all candidates, and we don't talk about vote by mail. We just vote by mail. But this cycle, of course, the president has decided to make it an issue. So we've talked a lot about vote by mail. And let's start by saying unequivocally that claims of widespread voter fraud are a myth. And they are myths spread by people who just want to make it harder for people like you to vote. Young people, people of color, people in working class neighborhoods. We're not going to let that happen. Because we know here in Oregon that vote by mail is safe. People often ask me, how are you going to defend vote by mail? I say, oh, I don't have to. The facts speak for themselves. In fact, y'all don't know me that well, but I don't quote conservative think tanks very often. Do I? No. But the Conservative Heritage Foundation actually reviewed Oregon's vote by mail over 20 years. They looked at over 15 million ballots. And they found 14 instances of voter fraud. That's literally less than 1 in a million. So we know that vote by mail is safe. The 0.0000001 instances of fraud In fact, vote by mail is safer than a lot of the stuff that y'all do every day. How many of you drink coffee? Yeah, you're in college. Vote by mail is safer than drinking coffee because the FDA allows up to 5% of your coffee beans to have a little mold in them. That's all right. Keep drinking your coffee. How many of you eat chocolate? Vote by mail, safer than eating chocolate because the FDA allows up to 1% of your cocoa beans to have a little insect bug parts in them. But you know what? Chocolate's good. I'm not giving up my frozen M&Ms. But vote by mail is safer than drinking coffee and safer than eating chocolate. But here's the deal. People often think it's the by mail part that is special. And yeah, that's how we all get our ballots. But we all turn them in lots of different ways. Some of us put them in the mailbox, which you can't do anymore. Election day is tomorrow. Some of them are going to put it in that Lane County Elections drop box right over there today. Some may hand it to a friend or a partner or a trusted organization. The by mail part to me is less special than the fact that I get to vote anywhere with anyone doing anything as long as I get it in on time. So here's what I think. I think that with my 2 kids over there, I can vote. And in my kitchen, I can vote. And with my cat, I can vote. And if I'm over 21 with a glass of bourbon, I can vote. And in my kitchen, in my bathrobe, I can vote. With my friends, I can vote. With my classmates, I can vote. With the ducks, I can vote. But no matter with whom, no matter from where, by tomorrow at 8 p.m., I will vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Secretary-to-be. My name is Tobias Read, and I am your state treasurer. That means I'm a numbers guy. Not quite as exciting, perhaps, as the next Secretary of State. But my job is in protecting public resources and creating a culture of savings. And I want to make sure you know we have cut Wall Street fees and saved Oregonians $500 million. We created a first in the country retirement savings plan that has 75,000 people on the road to financial security with savings of more than $70 million. And we're using our debt capacity to create the kind of infrastructure that makes this economy go, the roads, bridges, schools, and affordable housing. But I'm the state's chief investment officer, and the case I want to make to you today is that the investment you all get to make by voting is absolutely worth it. Think about the people who are behind me and the people that you're going to hear from in a minute. Congressman DeFazio, the chair of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, is going to go back to Congress and create an infrastructure plan for the 21st century that recognizes the impact of climate disruption. You're going to hear from our other senator, Senator Merkley, in a minute, about his work in the Senate to make sure that we're dealing with the impact of climate change. And you've already heard from our next Secretary of State, who's going to make sure that this democracy continues to work for everyone. One other statistic, because I am a numbers guy. At this point in 2016, there were 2 million people under the age of 30 who had voted. Not bad. But let me give you a little piece of good news. At this point, as of Thursday, the 29th, 6 million people in the country under the age of 30 have voted. And if that's not good news, I don't know what is. So you all know what you have to do. Many of you I know have already voted, but find those people. Make sure that they know where to go to turn in their ballot and take it from the state's chief investment officer. That is a good investment. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Good morning, Ducks. How are you? So, welcome to Lane County, where we know how to get it done. Because at the U of O, we get ballots in at a better rate than anywhere else because we know what it means. Because remember what Lane County is. Lane County is the swing county in a swing state, and every vote that you bring in matters. Every single one. So I have been working to make sure that my congressman and your congressman, Peter DeFazio, gets reelected because there's no way that some unqualified person should be able to buy our congressional seat when we've got somebody that has been so successful at fighting for working people and representing us in Washington, D.C. So I'm here, and I'm voting for Peter DeFazio. And we are Shemia Fagan. This seat is so important. I will tell you the first time that I didn't vote after I was 18 was when we were living in Wisconsin 25 years ago. And we could only afford a babysitter for 2 hours. My husband was working nights, I was working days. I stood in line, I got to the poll, and they told me I was in the wrong precinct. And I couldn't vote, and I didn't have the time. Understand that what they are doing across the country, what Donald Trump and his followers are doing, is stopping young people from voting, stopping working class people from voting, stopping people of color from voting. If you have to stop people from engaging in the democratic process to win, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And we cannot let them win. Which is why I'm supporting Shemia Fagan, because she will make sure that every vote is counted. And I'm making sure to support Tobias Read. Again, he's a treasurer. Numbers are sometimes boring. No offense. But can you imagine if we had somebody overseeing our funds for the state who didn't believe in investing in the people of this state? Tobias Read is someone we can trust to do the job well. And we need to make sure people vote and vote down the ticket. So get out. If you voted yourself, find 3 friends who haven't and get those ballots right in. So I am grateful for your answer. I will be working over the next 24 hours to get in every ballot possible. And I hope that you join me. And with that,
I'm sure you could tell that you have 100% of Oregon's United States senators with you today. And both Senator Merkley and I are here for these terrific candidates, particularly your member of Congress, which is a fight, which is all about Oregon values. Are we for the working class? Or are we just for the people at the top, paying for all Peter's opponents ask? But I also want to tell you just for a quick minute about my partner and my ally in the United States on the Senate. You probably know him as a champion for climate change. You may know that he's led the fight on so many human rights issues, and particularly justice at the border, such a crucial issue. But what you may not know is that much of our effort to secure the changes we're talking about in terms of taxes and schools and health care is handicapped because the Senate has rules that are so anti-democratic and come practically from the dark ages, and they're going to get changed. And they're going to get changed because of the man I bring up, Senator Merkley.
Okay, you know every good rally has to have a chant, and I haven't heard one yet, so let's try this out. Dump Trump, ditch Mitch, save America. Ready? Dump Trump, ditch Mitch, save America. One more time. Dump Trump, ditch Mitch, save America. I'll share a few words, but first, we're here on college campus. Let's hear the leaders of the college campus Democrats. Come on up.
Thank you, Senator Merkley.
My name is Hunter Spence. I am the president of the Oregon College Democrats, which is the official arm of the Oregon Democratic Party.
And I'm Tristan Waits. I'm the president of the University of Oregon College Democrats.
And we're here because this election, it's not the finish line. If anything, it's the starting point of how and who we'll be able to organize under, if we'll be able to organize comprehensive criminal justice reform and the desperately needed climate change legislation that we need, and an expansion to the Affordable Care Act, and most importantly to us, better funding to our schools.
And as an extension of that, I just wanted to share this real quick. This summer, I lost one of my childhood heroes, Representative John Lewis, a man who gave his whole life to fighting for our rights. And right before he died, I was feeling pretty apathetic about all politics in general. I mean, around July,
everything just seems so bleak, right? But his passing served as a reminder to me that his fight is now our fight, and that we've got to keep fighting regardless of who's in the White House, and keep doing our civic duty to make sure that we can all enjoy the rights that are fundamental to our democracy, and that honor the legacy left behind by these brave women, men and women from the civil rights movement.
And Congressman DeFazio's opponent, Alex Garletto's, and all Republicans up and down the ticket threatened to hinder that progress. So that's why we've been turning out students in record numbers to phone big for Congressman DeFazio, Shemia Fagan, and many other Democrats, because we are committed to winning this election.
And with that being said, we actually have some voters here right now who haven't cast their ballots yet and are going to cast their ballots for everyone here. Also, if anybody here has not voted, we encourage you, we ask you to come and vote with us right now.
Yeah.
If not,
John Lewis had a phrase that he used. He said, I'm ready for create a little bit of good trouble. Good trouble. Are you all ready to create some good trouble? I'm going to tell you what, the Secretary of State position is all about redistricting in this particular election. Do we want Kim Thatcher gerrymandering our state? No! No, hell no. We got to elect Shemia Fagan. And Treasurer Tobias Read. Not only did he say $500 million, he also sets up the accounts and runs them so that people who are investing now can tell their kids, we've got money saved for you to be able to go to college, make it possible for families never been possible. He's also set up the first in the country retirement savings plan for companies that have no retirement savings, and that's now a model that I hope we can get done nationally. It's so good. And Peter DeFazio is the man on infrastructure, investment, and transportation, and we desperately need it improved across the country, and it's going to get done because we re-elect Peter DeFazio. And defossilized. So, folks, I want you to think about the time to come as a pivot from a very dark and dangerous time to a much, much better America. Think of it like a baseball game. Now, a baseball game, you got to get to first base before you get to second, before you get to third, before you get home. This election is just first base. We need a blue House, we need a blue Senate, we need a blue Oval Office. Go Biden and Harris. Look at all the good bills that blue House are going to produce. Could get stopped if we don't have a blue Senate that can function. And even if the Republicans in the minority, they've got the Mitch McConnell veto in place under the rules. The Senate is so rigged that the Republican priorities, tax cuts for the rich, tax cuts for the rich, and destroying health care for 20 million Americans, their priorities take only a simple majority of 51 or 50 plus a VP. Our priorities for the people under Senate rules take 60 votes. How about this? Let's change the rules and unrig it for the people of the United States of America. That's second base. That clears the path to third base, which is unrigging our national elections, taking on gerrymandering, voter suppression, and dark money, restore the vision of government of, by, and for the people. And that clears the path to home plate. What does home plate look like? Investments for ordinary families in health care, in housing, in education. investments in infrastructure, investments in creating good paying jobs, because those are the four foundations of thriving families. How about we take back that $2 trillion tax cut for the rich in 2017 and invest it in families across the United States in healthcare, housing, education. And then we're going to pass the DREAM Act, which we're going to do for all of those who have grown up in America, part of our community, no other country. We're going to pass the Equality Act, which I wrote 5 years ago based on Oregon's Equality Act, so that there no more will doors be slammed in the face of our LGBTQ community. Full opportunity and equality across America. And then we're going to take on climate chaos, because we are way late. It is a huge issue. We can create millions of jobs. We have to save our planet. It's our moral responsibility. That's the home run. Healthcare, housing, education, and we're going to get it done. But first, we've got to elect this wonderful slate. So, are you with me? Should we get it done? Yeah. Okay, let's get ready for that final chant. Dump Trump, ditch Mitch, save America.
Hey, we want to thank everyone for coming out, and we want to thank you guys for voting. Once again, if you know somebody who hasn't voted, get them to vote, because tomorrow is going to be so important for all of us. Thank you guys.